What's going on, YouTube? OG's Nitro RC's here, coming at you again from the Nitro Corner. OG's Nitro Corner, episode 99. How are you boys and girls doing today? I hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Hold on for a second, guys. Let me turn down the TV. Got the good movie going on back there. Got the new Mummy, the Tom Cruise Mummy. Yeah, good show. Anywho, we're going to clip and snip these batteries real quick and get these bad little rascals right here on here, these XT60s. Gonna get these XT60s soldered on here. Gonna try to do this anyway. Should be just fine. 10 gauge, you know, going into a 12 gauge wire, or yeah, I believe these are 12 gauge slots. Yeah, 12 gauge. So it should, it'll be a little thick, but it should be all right. We're not gonna cap them anyway. We're not gonna use the brake caps to go over them, so I don't think I can get them to fit actually on these fatter wires. So I'm just going to shrink tube them and then double shrink tube both bands together and see if I can get them to hold up like that. So that's the game plan. Let me get down some tubing here real quick. I'm just going to get the whole damn box out, see which ones we come across, which ones we're going to need. I don't think I have anything else in here that I'm going to need off the top of my head. So yeah, the rest of it I'm going to clip and snip with a razor blade, so that'll all be okay. Put that back up in there, because these are your plug caps that you would slide your wires up on like that, and these caps would in turn slide down onto the plugs once they're soldered into place. And these are a pain in the ass to get down on here. Once they're on there, they're on there. They're on there for Jeebus, but they're a pain in the butt. We might try to get some of them on there. We'll put one of them on and see if we can't get it to fit. But it's hard telling how big these wires are going to be once I get them soldered in there, how much extra room they're going to take up, because they are a heavier duty wire. So with all that being said, we're going to see what we can get accomplished in here. See what we can do. Either way, the main thing is don't touch no wires. Don't make nothing go boom. That's the main goal for today. Everybody's goal is usually set like that. At least that's what we all start out trying to do anyway, is to not blow anything up. So how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's having a good day. So far everything's going great around here. Yes, it is going great. Just dapper. See, I gotta get me a thicker one now for this to hold both sleeves. That's not big enough. So we're probably gonna end up using one of these. Yep, to go over both of them. Yep, okay. So that's what we're going to have to do. Cut that in half, use one of these. See how it turns out in the first one we do, and we go from there. Everybody's always talking about, well, how do you cut battery wires? And I know 10 out of 10 of you guys watching my videos have already done this, or already know how to do this, how to change your plugs, or how to cut a battery of any kind, LiPo battery or NiCad, NiCad metal, whatever. It doesn't really matter. A battery's a battery. And I already know that's what you guys are dealing with. So, hold on a second, guys. I'm going to tin this up real quick while I'm sitting here looking at it. Get some juice on here. You always tin up your old soldering tip really good. Get that mug all nice and gold, and leave it sitting in there. All right. But they're always wondering, how do you do this? Well, rule number one across the board, I don't give a shit what you're doing. You do not cut both wires at the same time. Do not do that, because as soon as you make contact with both bare wires, you're going to short out your battery, possibly explode it, possibly hurt yourself very, very bad. So you cut one wire at a time. Whichever one, doesn't really matter. I prefer to cut the negative side first, because nothing really works without a ground. So I like to cut the negative side first anyway. And I will, once I get this out of the way, I will fold the red side down like this. Cut the black one first. Just like this. Only one side, guys. Only one side. Yeah. Boom. And that's some heavy duty wire in there. As long as you're not touching this and them terminals inside there at the same time, you're fine. You're right as rain. But after you do that, get that sucker away from you and work on this side right here. Work on one side. So what I always do is I clip it. Now I'm going to trim this. Let me get a headlamp on, guys. Give you a little bit more light. See if it gives you guys anything. anything better to look at here. There we go. I don't know if this helps or not. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave this back probably 1/4 inch, if that. A little bit over an 1/8, 3/16, 1/4 inch down, whatever. Not very much. I'm going to shave this down, this insulator. Don't forget your hot ends over there. So I'm going to shave this down. If you have wire strippers, make this a hell of a lot easier. I advise you to use them. If not, it ain't that big of a deal. Just like that. That's actually a lot. You don't need that much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll that over nice and snug, because at the end of the day, the goal project is to solder this onto this plug. Just like that. Boom. It's going to set right down in there. So you don't really need that much exposed. I might even actually try to snip some of that off. Just a little bit, not much. Or I might leave it alone. Because it's hard to cut once it's in raw form like that without being in the insulator. The insulator kind of keeps it all packed together. So that's like that. Okay. Once we got that one done, we're going to dip it in some oh, that's getting bad in there. I got to keep that covered up. Dip it in some flux. What the flux does is once you hit this with the heat, the flux is going to allow the solder to go through the whole wire and actually encase the wire nice and solid is what that's going to do. If that makes any sense to you guys, it's going to help fill it up quite a bit. So what we're going to do is like use one battery to help out with the other. Put that right up on there like that, because we're going to touch that with the soldering gun, the soldering iron. Hot end still over here. The reason why we're doing all this first is because we're going to wrap this sucker up in a minute with some electrical tape, so we don't have to worry about it touching nothing. Because while we're playing around with the hot end, you got to keep the negative end from touching anything else altogether. And am I being too careful? Am I sounding idiotic to some of you guys? Probably so. But you will be surprised at the people that I have seen blow batteries up or start fires because they get complacent and they're not paying attention. This is the one thing that if you have RC cars and if you are doing your own battery work and not having a pro shop do them for you, and even sometimes your pro shops are questionable, you have to take your time with this. 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 Check everything. Check it twice. Check it 4 times. Check it 6 times. Make sure your hot is on your hot side. Your negatives on your negative side, because these are marked. These little posts are marked. This side over here is marked positive. This side over here marked negative. So we know this black wire is going on this side right there. And everything has to be in place. So we will get our little little solder right here. Get our soldering iron right here. We got solder falling off it right now. And we are going to heat this sucker up. Just like that. Let this get warm. We're going to put the solder on top of it. And when the solder starts to melt through it, then you know you got something going on. Like that. Boom. It is starting to fill up. And if you hold it on there too tight, your wires do get warm. They do get hot. So be mindful about that. You don't want to bake this insulator. You don't want to hold it on there too long. You don't want too much stuff getting applied to it. You just keep it on there for as little time as possible. Always keep your solder tip clean. And when you're done, this is going to be warm, so give it plenty of time to cool off and shrink back down and do its business. But when you get done, this whole end right here should be nice and shiny. Like you can see that right now, that should be nice and shiny. If it's dull, it means it didn't take. All the flux coming out of it. If it's dull, it didn't take. It should be nice and shiny and full of solder. Okay. So that side is pretty much, we'll call that good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sit here and let that cool off for a minute. I'm going Let that cool off a minute. We're going to hit it with some black tape to cover that up so we know it's safe. And then we're going to go to the other side and cut the positive one off. And then we're going to come back and do one side at a time. We're going to slide our insulators up on there, our shrink tubing. We're going to slide the big tubing up on there. We're going to slide our cap up on there and all that kind of good stuff. Meanwhile, we're going to take this. Wrap this sucker up the best that we can. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what you got to use to put on there. That is covered and can't touch anything. Metal is covered completely and cannot touch nothing to cause no harm. So now it doesn't matter what this touches. It's harmless. So now we're going to do the same thing to the positive side. Exact same thing to the positive side. I'm going to snip it, strip it, cut it down. Just like that, and there's your plug. A lot of guys will get in here and pop the spacers down because you can unlock them and pull the tabs right out. You know, you can do that too if you want to go through that trouble. You really can. Or you come in here and just do this like what we're doing right now. Okay, I think this one a little bit more, not much. Okay, now we're going to wrap this up, dip it in a little bit of flux, put a little flux on there. And we're going to set this over here on the side like we did the other one. Let the battery do the work for us, holding that up here. Just like that. Our soldering gun. We're going to make sure our tip is good and primed up, or tinning as they call it. Make sure it's got solder on it. We're going to touch this wire. Boom, and it all just ran through there. It does not take long, guys. It does not take very long at all. That quick. And that wire has a lot of solder on it. We're going to put a little bit more on here. I want a lot on there so when I go to touch it to these plugs are good and covered with it. So they take quick, so you don't have to hold the heat on them very much. Because since I don't have what they call the third hand, which is a little device you can buy for your table that's got alligator clips on it, you know, so you can clip everything up and hold everything into place for you, and you can get in here and do your work and not have to use this like I'm using, or you're going to see me do it here in a minute where I hold on to this with my other set of vice grips, you know, and like this, and solder these things in there, because that's when it becomes a pain in the butt. But this is what I got to do because I don't even have one of the one of the scale modeling ones. I haven't bought one of those, and shit, the last one I had, I don't know how many years ago it was. I used it for holding flies and stuff like that when you're tying flies. Yeah, we're gonna hit this a little bit more. Just like that. Just like that. Alright guys, so that one's done. Slightly warm, not too bad. Got a good amount of solder on it. So we got one covered, one not covered. Ain't got to really worry about it. They can't touch each other, see? Because we got one wrapped in electrical tape. So what are you going to say? We can set him aside for now. He's pretty much done his business. Leave him alone. We'll get to this one when we're done with that one. One at a time. Or I might do them both right now since I have them both up here doing the same thing to both of them. We can do it that way too, which I think is what we'll do. We'll go ahead and clip and snip right now while we're sitting here looking at these, and I got all these tools sitting out here. That's what we'll go ahead and do. All right. Black wire done. Black wire done. Give it a little twist. Give it a little flux. Bring the other battery back down here. Set him up on here. What we do with our trusty vice grips. Get them up here. Okay. Get some tinning on our solder gun here. We're good. What I'm doing is I'm heating from the bottom, pushing the wire from the top, letting that wire fill up. Just like that. And that one is done. Again, we're going to let it cool, throw some black tape on it, hide it, and do the same thing. Rinse and repeat to the positive side. Rinse and repeat to the positive side. Okay. Sometimes this flux melts, rolls off from the spool and gets down on the cord, and the tape gets slippery. So it can't hurt to have a little bit more tape on it. Whatever it takes to hide that bare wire, guys. It does not matter. You ain't trying to win no beauty contest here. You ain't trying to pass a soldering class in high school. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is safety. Safety, safety, safety. Covered, plugged. Now we can cut the hot end off. Do the same thing with that. Okay, there's both of our plugs. Boom. Get that out of here. Get those out of here. And bada bing. Pop that off, give it a twist. That wire away, get rid of our excess over here. Try to keep things tidy, guys. We don't want no messes. We do not want any messes. Get your hot wire laid out here. I'm gonna get a little flux on it. Like that. Some more solder. And I like the thinner solder, guys. I think this is 30 thousandths. 60-40, 32 thousandths diameter, yes. And I like this stuff better. This does not have the flux in it. The thicker solder, and I have some of it up there I can show you right now. Other solder. That's not the 60-40, I don't think. What is this? This is the 40-60. This stuff has flux inside of it. A lot of guys were like, oh, I'd rather use the stuff with the flux in it because then it melts into it and does the same. Yes, it does. It does the same thing. I've used the resin core for, I don't know, my entire life. You know, it's a really good stuff made in Mexico. The Alpha Fry, 4 ounces, 4 ounces, 60-40, 40-60. You know, one's got a core in it that's got the flux inside of it. One doesn't. It just all depends on what your preferences are. You know, whether you want to use a bigger with the flux in it or whether you want to use a smaller solder only with and add the flux. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. But back to this. Put tin up our stuff here. All right, get a good spread going here. And heat. Okay. There we go. Big gob of solder on top of that right there. There we go. Tidy it up a little bit. Bada bing. Wet sponge. Always have a wet sponge in your solder tray. Tin it up for the next round. Good to go. Now, positive and negatives are done on both batteries. Positive and negatives are done on both batteries. And what we're probably going to end up doing is cutting and placing and cutting and placing. So, after we get these, we get our new ones mounted up, soldered up, I should say. Because here you got to do one at a time too. Because once you put the black one on, your ground, and you go to hook up your positive one, then this becomes hot. So this is a live end. So you got to be mindful of what you're doing. Plain and simple. So once you get that on there, I always do this. That way it keeps it from expanding, or it keeps from messing up the inside. Just put a core on it, hold on to it, solder it. That way everything stays lined up inside. So because sometimes when you're soldering these up and getting them too hot, it messes with the insulator in the inside of the new plug. And what it'll do is it'll make this one on the inside, your new plug, it'll make this kitty wampus. It'll mess with it a little bit. But if you plug it into something where it's supposed to be plugged into, keep everything straight. When that gets hot, it can't deform it or mess with it any sort of way. So, you're still safe. You got your plug over here and all that kind of stuff. So you're all right. This is the female end. If you don't want males, then it turns into a stun gun. Then it turns into a shot collar because you got two hot ends coming out of it. So your hot end coming out of your battery should always be female. Always be a female, like this end right here. That way you can't accidentally zap anything or blow your batteries up or hurt yourself. Because you will hurt yourself if it goes off in the wrong way. So with that being said like that, then we grab a hold of this with senior vice grips. See where we at here. How do I want to do this? Because I got the other end on. So we're going to do this. And this is the negative side. Just like that. That's the negative side. So, use one of the batteries for a stand again, or a couple of them if we can. Just like that. This is a pain in the butt because I got this on the other side, but I don't want to put it on the downside. I'd like to keep it up high like that, because I'm going to heat this spot up and drop solder right down inside there. That's what we're going to do. Going to make a little puddle of solder in there. A small one right in here. So. Hold some heat to this. Just like that. How much should we get in there? Just like that. Now we gotta carefully knock off the slag hanging so we don't touch anything accidentally. So now we have enough solder in that trough right there, I hope, that when we hold the wire down in there, it grabs that and holds on to it just as well. We'll put a little bit more down in there. Just like that. I got a good amount in there. And we're going to flip it over and do the other side, which is the positive side. Hold this on here. Positive side's got a big goober in it now too. Big chunk of solder's inside there. We'll put a little bit more up in there so as we flip this around so we can get the better angle on it. That's what we got. It's all about that angle. We got a good amount in there. So technically when we press them wires down in there, it should adhere to it just fine. Technically, it should adhere to it just fine. So now what we do is we slide our shrink tubing up on these lines. Cut this in half. We're going to use half and half. Oop. Get out of the window. Nitro pup over there being nosy like he always is. One piece, two piece. Alright, now we're going to slide this one all the way up on here, provided it fits good like it does. And then when it comes time, we'll slide this one all the way up on there too, and be good to go. So, and before we do all that, then we have to get our double piece up on here. Yeah, just like that. So this will take up both pieces. I probably don't need nothing that big. I can cut this in half too. Save myself a little bit of a headache later on. So get that off from there. Scissors. Let's say right about there. Right. Now we will slide this and this together. This is something you do not rush, guys. I mean, granted, you get a little faster with it as you go, you know, with what you're doing. If you do enough of them, you get faster with it, of course. It's like anything else. But it's something that you really don't want to rush on. You really do not want to rush on it. Oh, need another piece. Right, so you can buy right here, AutoZone. The little Dorman they're called, heat shrink tubing. All various sizes of heat shrink tubing. Yep. Greatest thing ever, guys. Never know when you're going to need a piece of shrink tubing. Okay. Bam, 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 bam. So that's on there. That one's on there. These go on the negatives. This one can go on here now. Well, I used to race carpet cars, electric. We did this a lot. I mean, just about, guys, I can't tell you how many times a day at a race we would be soldering and unsoldering battery bricks, because you'd have 5 cells. The little bitty batteries like what are in your glow warmer chargers, you know, these little batteries right here, which are, I don't know what, yeah, 1800 milliamp each. We'd have 5 of these in a row. Boom, 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 boom. Negative, positive, negative, positive. and you have to take them, flip them, take them, flip them, take them, flip them, all the way down. And you have these little bitty steel bars, stainless steel bars. You would connect from end to end, negative to positive, positive to negative, negative to positive, all the way down. You got to solder it, solder it, solder it, solder it to each battery, flip it over, solder it, solder it, solder it on the other side too. So you connected the loop. So you made all 5 batteries one continuous cell, just like these. But we make them out of 5 of these. So we soldered a lot of batteries back in the day. A whole lot of batteries. It doesn't mean it makes it any easier nowadays, because that was, 20 years ago. But still, back in the day, it wasn't nothing to solder 4 or 5 or 6 bricks of batteries a race every time you raced. And every time you got done, you were draining the battery and killing it and recycling it and doing this and doing that, and it's like, oh man. Never ending fun stuff, guys. Never ending fun stuff. All right, let's see what we can make happen. Let's see if we can't do this without blowing anything up or anything like that. Getting too bad here. All right. Get all this big stuff out of the way. Get the big stuff out of the way. Get everything on my right side where I can see it. We're not going to need the flux anymore. Put the lid on that. That wasn't on there good enough the last time. I was messing my flux up. All right. Now, with all this being said, what we want to do is we want to get this wire in a stationary spot. So when we press it down into this, it'll be okay. And we have our positive side and our negative side. Positive, negative, positive, negative. So that red wire is going in that top one right there, the positive one. Boom, that's the one it's going to get pressed into and held into, and it's got to be kept under weight so it doesn't move, basically is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to hold this up here like this. I'm going to press that down in there, and hopefully it takes. If I got enough solder in there, it'll take really good, and it'll be awesome. If I don't have enough solder in there, we're going to know it automatically. Red wire, that's all you got to know. Positive, positive. All right, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but I apologize if you can't. Okay, it ain't pretty by no means or form of the way. But it's on there. Yes, it's on there. So now, what we do, make sure we got those Sharpies on here. Smooth it off a little bit. Okay. We're going to slide our chute up on there, shrink wrap it, which it still should be warm. We want to let it cool down a little bit, because if not, it'll bind up as soon as it hits it. We don't want that. we want to give it time to relax. Chill out, man, chill out. So yeah. We can pull our tubing up on here. Maybe if I can grab a hold of it. It's not gonna let me grab a hold of it. Not with those anyway. All I gotta do is wait on this, guys. I don't have to rush it like I'm doing right now, but there we go. Because this has got to come up on here, but as soon as it hits that warmness, it's going to start tightening up. So you got to make sure it's cooled off enough, and shove it up on there. If it'll go up on there, we always hope it does. See, it hit that hot stuff and it's already collapsing on it. Okay, cool. Now you should be able to use a heat gun. Or your solder gun. You don't even have to use a heat gun if you don't have one. You can just use your solder gun. Get your solder gun and hold it really close to it. Close to it. Don't touch it. If you touch it, you're going to melt your shrink tubing. But get it up on there, get it close, and it will shrink that tubing around that just fine. Now we're going to, there you go, put some tin back on here a little bit. Clean it up. Let's do it in there for the next round. So now the hot is done and the hot is covered. Your positive is covered. You got little pokies sticking out, so you got to be mindful about those little pokies sticking out. If they touch negative wire, you'll have problems. So, you know, be mindful of that while you're doing that too. But for the most part, it is 99.99999% safe right now because the shrink tubing is up on it. Now, we can unwrap the negative safely, which is what we're going to do now. This is 36 minutes in, guys. I'm going to try to make this a short video. You guys are probably only going to get to see one battery done, and then I will stop the video, and I will continue doing the other battery and go on about my business of setting up the Big Mac's truck. But I want you guys to see you know, the process that I do for putting on plugs. Now we got our shrink tubing that we cut off, so we're going to slide this up on here the best of our ability. It's kind of a tight fit. I probably could have used the next size up one if I'd have thought about it, but I think that might have been a frog hair too big. Maybe that right there might, I don't know if that would have shrunk down on there tight enough or not, guys. I really don't know. Don't know if that would have shrunk on there tight enough or not. We can try it. We can try a dono piece. Dono piece. I hate that damn. I don't know why I said that for. We can try a piece to see if it will shrink on there. Been watching these damn live streams too much. These guys talking about donos and shit. Yeah, put that on there like that. Hit it with the heat gun. See if it wraps. If it wraps, we'll use it. Man, look at that. It did. Oh shit! I almost lost my Yoko sticker. Get back here, bud. Squirrel moment, guys. So did it wrap good? Did it hold? Yes, it did. Good. Now we can cut this sucker off. We will use a bigger piece on this side. Just in case, fellas. I really got to put new razor blade. This is a brand new X-Acto knife and I've ruined this blade on here. I'm cutting my insulator right now too. Gotta be careful with that. We got a whole bunch of those number 11s. Number 11 X-Acto blade, guys. That is the most common blade used for everything. Number 11. So anyway, we can put him up on there now. Shove him way up on there. And stick him inside there. So he's good and out of the way and away from the heat. So the heat doesn't come up the line and make him start to tighten up. Because he will. And now we're going to hold this into here and boom, solder this piece onto here. Once we solder that piece into there, we slide up our safety line and we're good to go. It doesn't go that way, we're going to go this way with it. All right, so we need vice grips. And vice grips. just like that. We can press that down in there, and if that takes, it'll be a beautiful thing, guys. Beautiful thing. Okay, I'm going to tin this up. All right, here we go. Sorry if you guys can't see anything. Sorry. This is where I got to be sure of something more than I got to worry about you guys seeing it. Wipe off the excess. I can feel the heat going through that line right now. And it is on there. It is on there. It's stuck on there good. Ba-boom. Just like that. So now we're going to give that time to cool down a wee bit, because it is hot. It was starting to come up through the insulator. Your lines aren't ever going to be pretty. You guys can see that. That is some of the nastiest looking solder jobs I've ever seen, buddy. I wouldn't pay for that in a pro shop. Hell no. But hey, this is what we do. 41 minutes in, guys. This is going to turn out pretty good. Hopefully a little 45-minute video. We're going to slide this insulator up. We're going to shrink it. We're going to slide the big one up. We're going to shrink it. We're going to slap it on the charger. We're going to slap it on the charger. See if we can get it charging. I'll take these burrs off here. Burrs all over the place. It really don't matter because it's going to have another sleeve over the outside of it anyway, so it's going to be double protected. Both of them will be. Just like that. Does it cool down? Yes, it is. So now we're going to slide this piece up on here. All right. Get your protecto piso up there, cuz heat gun. And like I said, I will show you. You can use your soldering gun. If you hold it close enough and get it hot enough, it will start to grab. It will start to shrink on its own. It's just a pain in the butt to do it this way. A lighter or anything else that you can hold up here just makes it that much faster. As you can see, it is shrinking down on it. See, it's starting to tighten up on it. It will. That's just a long road to recovery. There you go, boys and girls. Both are sealed all the way to the plug. And I don't know, seeing how wide they are, I don't think I could have got a cap on there if I'd have wanted to. I really don't. That's why I didn't put one on there. I didn't even want to attempt it. I can always unsolder them later on down the road if I think that it's a safety issue to where they need to be capped. I can always just cut the heat shrink off, hit it real quick, the solder, pop the wires will just spring right off from it. Slide this cap up on there. Well, actually this way. Slide that cap up on there, solder them back on, slide this back down on there, and be done with it. I myself, I'd rather have the insulator on there. But how's that doing on there like that? Okay. Move that. So I don't even know if this one's big enough to lock on there now. I might have got I got too small of a piece. Yes, I did. Too small of a piece, guys. Too small of a piece. I should have went with the large. This is the largest. It's as large as I got, ain't it? Yes, it is. It's the largest one I got. Yeah, that's the largest one I got. Sure is. It's as big as they come. So that's going to have to do. It'll be all right just like that. actually getting it up on there, guys. Actually, I really am. It's going to seal up nice. That'll work. But it sealed up nice. Yes, it did. Now hit it with the heat gun and tighten it up. Just like that, boys and girls, and there is your new plug. Yes, it is. There's your XT60, which goes into this adapter, which goes into the truck, which will make everything run. Now, for the final test, before I let you guys go, like I said, I'm going to do the other one off camera. 45 minutes walking you through this step by step of how me, OG, does this. Not everybody does it this way, so don't go saying, well, hey, he does it this way. Hey, I know. Everybody does it a different way. But this is how I do it. So, we're going to get everything around here. Let's see here. Put that over there. Reach up here and grab this. And plug all this in. Alright. Don't you love it when you got 86 miles of cord? You don't need 86 miles of cord. 45 and a half will do just fine. There's that. There's that. 4S. 4S. Okay, there's my balance lead. And there's that. And we are at a 7200 4-cell. So go over here and we go, I know, and I know. Nighttime battery, we want a LiPo battery. LiPo battery. Boom. We're gonna go to 4S. 4S. Jack it down to here. Good. 1700. We want 7200. 7200, 7.2 amps. Click it. 7.2 amps. Click it. Now when I hold it down and hit it this time, the lead's in, the charging port's in. If everything's the way it's supposed to be, it should beep once and take off and start charging. Here we go, boys and girls. There we go. Everything's going according to plan. We're in cell 1 is at 395, cell 2 is at 395, cell 3 is at 391, and cell 4 is at 396. It's balancing the cells out right now as it goes. There it is. That's how you change a charge lead on a battery. OG's Nitro Corner, where we get shit done. I hope that helps somebody understand things a little bit differently, to slow down. Make sure you're always safe with what you're doing. Keep everything covered in the right direction. Make sure you're aware of what you're doing, so nothing goes boom, because these batteries are no joke at all. And granted, they've gotten a million times safer than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago, but still, they're no joke, guys. So, and never ever throw one on a charger and walk away and forget about it, because your house will end up on YouTube, and you don't want to do that either. Okay? So, I'm going to set my ass down over there in the chair as soon as I get this other one done. Let this one charge up, as unfortunately I don't have my dual charger yet. So, I can only do one at a time, but these are monstrous batteries. They're going to hook up and do really good, and we'll get them done today, and then we'll be on our way tomorrow, hopefully. 49 and 38 seconds in, so 50-minute video. OG's Nitro RC's coming at you from the Nitro Corner, folks. Boys and girls, episode 99. Episode 99. OG's Nitro Corner, where we talk shit, build shit, fix shit, rearrange shit, and get shit done. This is where we get it done at, guys. Love, respect, and appreciate each and every one of you. Smash that like button for me, please, guys, if you found this educational or funny or hilarious or shit. It was just something to have going in the background while you're cooking ramen. I don't care. Give me a thumbs up if you would, please. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Tell your friends about OG. This is, hey, you never know what's going on here. You know, you never know. Today, we're fixing batteries and changing plugs and playing with electricity. Tomorrow, we could be rebuilding another Nitro engine. You never know what's going to happen here in the corner. So, peace out, guys. And OG, I will catch you in the next one. Later.